Jeff Wilson started covering the Texas Rangers in 2008, though he'll never forget 2021. Out on his own, he decided it was time to do a podcast, but his wheels were spinning until a nerd came along. There's no going back now. Welcome to the Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast. Here's your host, Jeff Wilson, and the recliner nerd himself, John Moore.
All right, everybody, and welcome once again to the Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast. This is episode 5, and today, Ricky Vanasco, lauded by many as maybe one of the top 1, 2, or 3 starting pitching prospects in the organization. He's coming back from rehab, and he's going to join us from Tommy John surgery. He's just finished and about to start in his fall instructs. We're going to talk to him, but first, Jeff, what's up, man?
No, nothing. Just chilling here on a Thursday. That was a rough series for the ball club at Yankee Stadium. Should have won the first game. Probably should have won last night too.
Yeah.
Just one of those things where this is it. I mean, this is a good barometer to show. It shows where a rebuilding team falls short and where a winning team like the Yankees, a contender, find a way to punch through and win a ball game. They absolutely need to win. So, but it's on to Baltimore. 4-game series. Baltimore's terrible. So maybe the Rangers can put off losing 100 games until they come home. But what are they? They're at 97 now. So it's gonna 97 with 10 to go. 8-2 is gonna be a tough one.
Yeah, I think so too. So I mean, pretty much, I think we knew probably 3 weeks ago they're going to lose 100 games. I mean, you just looked at it; they don't quite have the horses in the stable right now, and that's not necessarily an indictment on what it is. Look, they're observing and doing that. But I thought we would have some fun today, and I want to do that second. But you're right. Maybe these 4 games here will, can lighten the mood a little bit and get a couple wins. Because I don't care. I know that a lot of fans think, hey, let's tank and let's get a higher draft pick, do whatever. These players want to win. They want to win. That's not their goal. Their goal is to go out. Right. And so's Woody's. Woody wants to win every day.
Yeah, and I did a story on it Sunday about the 100 losses, and he talked to me. He's like, I really want to finish, 63 and 99. This guy wants to win. He hasn't been handed a very good deck. Or the hand isn't very good, I guess, from the deck.
Right.
A bunch of 2-7 if you're playing poker. That's probably what he's got. Yeah. But and it's eating him up, I think. But these guys come to the ballpark. They work every day. The young guys realize that they've got a chance to make an impression, and maybe sometimes that hurts them. Maybe they press sometimes, but it fuels them for working. So you can look at a game and say, oh, they quit. They haven't quit. They're just overmatched. And I think that you'll see them play hard until 162, and then next spring will be something entirely different.
I'm telling you right now, I think this offseason, maybe one of the busier off seasons we're going to see. They've got a lot of 40-man spots that they've got people that they have to make decisions on. And so it's why we're not going to see Josh Young this year. They don't have to put him on that roster until the end of spring, if he does make the team coming out of spring training, which we all assume he will. Or I don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute because we're going to go over some lineup stuff here in a second. Okay, so all right. So before we get to I kind of brought up. I give Jeff a little homework, which he doesn't have enough to do covering this team. I said, you know what? Tell me who you think. Let's go to next spring, coming out of spring, going to the first day of the season, which is March 31st next year. The last day of March, they play the Yankees, I think, at home. That's opening day. Who's the starting lineup? Now, I will give you a little leeway. I put, if you think there's a right-handed, left-handed combination at certain positions, then you get that leeway if you want to say, hey, it's this or that. Other than that, but I want to do it 2 different ways. Now, for me, it's easier as a fan that's been here. I can dream and think. So the second way is off-season moves that you think you don't have to explain, just you do the lineup and those names will be in there. First, let's go though with what they have right now. After the season, a few of these guys will fall off because they'll be free agents. With what they have heading into next year, who's your rotation?
Okay. My rotation with what they have, and I'm including Correa in this, even though he's in AAA.
Sure.
Dunning, Hearn, Allard, Lyles, Arihara.
Okay.
Now, Lyles is one of those guys who's going to be a free agent, but I really could see a case where they might ask him back. It would be a cheap deal. He might be able to do something better somewhere else, but those are the ones I'm going with since they're on the roster / in the organization right now.
Okay, so I'm kind of there with you. I went Dunning, Hearn, Otto. I went Cody. Now, is Cody supposed to be back? He's coming. They thought he might be back in September. And Alexi. That's where I went. Arihara, I toyed with Arihara. He did clear waivers. He's in AAA, so he will be invited to spring training next year. And maybe figure out whatever it is that's doing, whatever the heck it is. So I did. I toyed with that, but I went ahead and went with Alexi because he's on the roster right now in doing that. Okay, so and I didn't think of Lyles. I think Lyles is gone. That's me. But okay.
Yeah. Well, the reason I think he comes back is all these guys,
absolutely,
Otto, Alexi, they're going to be short on it. The Rangers are going to be short on innings. These guys can go out and throw 180, not even 150. So you're going to need somebody to eat innings, and this is still a rebuilding year. It's still being framed that way.
Right.
It's supposed to be better, but I still think contending is not at the forefront. So that's why I kind of went with Lyles and Arihara.
Yeah, and no, I totally get what you're saying there. And when you'll see on the other time on the other one that we do that I went with, you got to get somebody in here to do it. Now I dream a little more than you, so it's different when I come from the fan. Okay, who's your catcher? Still the same combo?
Yeah, same catching tandem, Trevino and Heim. I did think about Sam Huff, and I think there's a way that he could start next season on the major league roster, but it's a big deal not miss for a catcher to miss a season of catching.
Yeah,
I think they need him to go to AAA to work on the catching. The offense, he's going to be what he is. He's going to hit for a lot of power. Hopefully, he gets his average up to around. I think the Rangers would be happy with 240, 250 as long as he's popping home runs. But I think that he just needs a little more seasoning behind the plate.
He's got his legs under him. I mean. He hadn't been squatting really for a long time, and that takes a lot. I mean, that is a lot to be back behind that plate, that long. So I think,
the Rangers are big believers in the framing, and if you look at the numbers, Trevino and Heimer have made the Rangers the best, honestly, in the league, maybe even baseball, at turning balls into strikes. So that's big.
Yep. No, I totally agree. Okay, so how about first base? Okay, so we're gonna go around. That's position 2. Position 3 is first base.
Nate Lowe, Nathaniel Lowe. Sorry.
Yep. That's so hard for me. I'm going to call him Nate until I'm talking.
Yeah. To him. I mean, he obviously cooled off, but he gets on base, hits the ball the other way. Looks like he's starting to figure out his pull side power a little bit. So, I'd give him another chance.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I think Lowe has proved that there are other places we could go free agent wise to find players, and at first base you've got someone there. He may not be you think of your first baseman, 40 home run big corner guy. He's not that guy, but there are other places you can put those players. All right, so let's go to second base. This one might be interesting. Who do you put?
I went with Nick Solak.
Okay.
I think that he's got the experience. He's been pretty good since coming back from AAA. So I think he gets another shot at the job.
Okay, with this group of players they have, I went Ibanez. I went Andy Ibanez.
All right.
Look, he's played third and second, kind of a utility guy. He's not stellar on defense. We know that. Solak wasn't stellar on defense, although he has improved some this year. He had a long
streak. He had like 60-something game streak without an error. So
yeah,
at minimum, you need to make the plays you're supposed to make, and at minimum he's capable of that, and he's made some nice plays otherwise as well.
Yeah, and the only reason I go with Ibanez, I know Woody loves the way the ball comes off the bat of Ibanez. He does hit the ball hard, and he is one of the better hitters on the team right now. But you know what? That's not where I go in my second list that we go to, but out of what we have. Now let's go to third base. Are we both with Young?
Well, I mean, yes, if he's eligible for your little experiment here. If he's not, I'm going with Andy Ibanez. But
I'm going within the organization. You know what? That's my fault. I'm talking not on the big league roster. I'm talking in the organization.
Okay, well then I'll go with Josh Young.
Okay, Josh Young. Okay, So,
Yeah.
well, at least I didn't throw you too far off because that's good
Yeah.
because, but understandable. We both think Josh Young should make the team coming out of spring training.
Yeah, I don't, there, as you know, has been the service time issue and keeping guys out for whatever it is, 21 days or whatever, and then calling them up. With the collective bargaining agreement that's being worked on right now, that may not even be a factor anymore. That's something that the players definitely want to address. So it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't matter. So I think that Josh is going to be the clear-cut guy in spring training. Honestly, I think if he hadn't gotten hurt this year, I would have put him on the team on opening day. I mean, I saw him at spring training. He took arguably the best batting practice of anybody on the team, and just knows what he's doing. Obviously, he needed at bats, but he no foot injury, and he's probably on the team in July, but he's not. But opening day, it's his job.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just watching him play AA and AAA, he is the best player on the field for the team he's on. As far as approach at bat, the way he looks when he's hitting,
Sure.
I'm not talking about he's hitting 450-foot bombs all the time. The guy's got an approach to the plate. He lays off pitches he needs to. But he's put the numbers up. He's backed it up. This is a guy that loves this game, loves being on the field, and my gosh, it's hard to see that. So your shortstop within the organization, no way to go with. Yeah, you got to go with IKF. Okay. All right, left field. This is the one that I wonder where you're going to go here. Left field.
Left field. I am going to go with DJ Peters.
Peters, okay.
I think he's done enough to warrant another look. I know the average hasn't been there. It's inconsistent, but the power's there. The defense is there. Chris Woodward loves him, loves his attitude. So that's where I'm going. I'm going with DJ Peters.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't even think of – that's the one guy I didn't really think of because I don't – I do love his enthusiasm. He is that guy has a great attitude every day you see him. He's got a big grin and doing that and loves to play the game too. I went with a guy who I still have this belief this is kind of my Scott Heineman guy. I've always thought eventually this guy's just going to break it and he's going to go. And he's a stellar defender. And I would put him in center, but I'm going to put him in left, and that's Eli White.
All right. Yeah. He's got the arm injury to come with, but
yep.
Yeah, great defender.
Yeah. And
super fast.
There
are tools there.
There are tools. Okay. Center field.
Leody Taveras.
That's who I went with. It's kind of hard to go away from that. And right field, I think we're both Garcia.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. It's easy. He's one of the few locks. I mean, I thought we answered first base, shortstop, right field, center field, and catcher pretty easily. But honestly, Garcia and Kiner Falefa right now are the only guys that have jobs, I think, for absolutely sewn up for sure next year.
Absolutely. Yeah. And not to take anything away from Lowe, who we pretty much think probably has it locked up. But that's a position that somebody could easily, that could be a signing somewhere or a trade for a good player to come in. Orioles might be looking to move Mancini or something, but he could play outfield too, but I don't have him on my list, by the way. So, but anyway, there could be improvement there, even though I like Lowe. Okay. DH.
I'm going to go with a platoon. I'm going to go with Willie Calhoun and Andy Ibanez.
Okay.
I want Ibanez on the field. And with Young at third, you got to find a way to get Andy at bats, and you can sprinkle him in at second and even first.
Sure.
In this scenario. I just, Willie, he's hit well since he's been back. Outfield defense is so important, and while he's much better than he was 4 years ago, it's still you can do better, and so that's why I have Peters out there. And I'm not saying Willie's not going to get games in the outfield, but
right.
Yeah, your best defensive alignment does not have Willie Calhoun in it.
That's funny. I did the exact same thing you did. Only, of course, I have Ibanez at second base, so my right-handed combination at DH was Solak. So I've got Calhoun, Solak. And Solak, like Ibanez, you can throw him out there. You can put him out there to play second base when you need him to. He could probably play third, I guess. I mean, he wasn't as good over there if you need him to. maybe even a little outfield, but he's a good right-handed bat. I do like Solat's bat. I just think Ibanez, to me, feels like he's one of these guys ready to break out too. So, but we're right. We're thinking on the same page. We have a few moved. How about closer? You got Barlow?
I do not have Barlow. I have
Okay.
Jose Leclerc.
Is he back?
He'll be back.
He'll be back. Okay.
Yeah, he had Tommy John surgery in March. Relievers don't need as much time, so I'm going with Leclerc. Just the experience factor. He's not going to be a guy who they're not going to non-tender him. If anything, he could be a trade candidate in July. But I think that Leclerc is going to be the guy.
Easy. If he's healthy to go, yes, without a doubt. It's like Hernandez. If Hernandez was back healthy again too, Jonathan Hernandez, that's somebody he could be at the back end of that bullpen too. Okay, so let's go outside the box. Now let me explain to folks. I'm going to be way more wild than Jeff is because I come to this as a fan of the Texas Rangers since 1974. Jeff comes to this as a guy that covers the Rangers, who sure he loves to see them do better because that's funner to cover when you cover a team that's doing good, but you don't have allegiance to them like I do. So I went outside the box and me and Chris Young and John Daniel got together and we did some different things. And okay. So start out with your rotation next year. What do you see?
My rotation next year, Dunning, Hearn, Arihara. I go with Sonny Gray, who will be available in a trade with the Reds. The Rangers have a little bit of history dealing with the Reds here recently. But that's going to be the only pitching addition. But I'm not going to have Jordan Lyles in there anymore. I am going to put in Glenn Otto. So our Dunning, Hearn, Arihara, Sonny Gray, and Otto. And Sonny Gray will start on opening day.
This is fantastic because I have Sonny Gray.
All right.
I know the Reds might be. Now, I did go better, though. I went with a guy that is possibly going to be a free agent, Syndergaard. I went with one name signing. I went Syndergaard, Sonny Gray, then I go Dunning, Hearn, and Otto.
Okay.
I don't know. Syndergaard he's going to have to – he may be kind of like Otto. And then at the back end, he did not pitch a lot this year, so he doesn't have a lot of innings. And if he's healthy, he may not can go 150 innings. Sonny Gray's my guy to go eat the innings. That's who I've got that can eat the innings. And I do think the Reds might be looking to move him too. And he's got options for 13 or for 23. So you could have him under control for a couple years if he's playing well. Yeah.
Well, and Syndergaard's from Mansfield, so that's a nice local tie. His parents now live in McKinney, I believe. But bring him home. So
and if he's healthy and he doesn't get the big deal he thinks he ought to get, maybe something like a $15 million a year for a couple years or something like that. It could be 2 or 3 years, and it might be somebody like you flip him again if he turns out to be that. I don't know. I'm dreaming. He's probably going to get a little more than that. Okay, we go to catcher. I think we're still at the same place.
Yeah, same too.
Yeah, there's no need to go out trying to find a catcher anywhere. That's kind of the way I see it. Okay, let's go to first base. Still with Lowe?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so me too.
I flirted with the idea of acquiring Luke Voit from the Yankees, but he hasn't had a great year. And I know some of it's been injury, some of it's been he was disappointed that the Yankees acquired Rizzo. But I'm gonna hang on to Nate Lowe here.
Okay. All right. I got Nate Lowe too. I still don't think that they have to address Nate Lowe puts good enough at bats there. I think with a stronger lineup, Lowe might even be better if he's a little more protected. See some better pitches and his numbers could really climb. So I still see Lowe there. Second base.
I'm still sticking with Nick Solak. I don't think the Rangers need to go outside the organization for a second baseman. I think that they need to bide their time on Foscue. So I think Nick keeps the seat warm this year or in 2022. So I'm sticking there.
Okay, this may be a prelude to where I go down the line, but my second baseman is a guy named Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. That's my second baseman. Okay.
All right, I see what you're doing. I see where you're going.
Okay.
Who's your shortstop then?
He's coming up. First, I got to go to third base.
Oh, right.
So we got to go to third base. Who's my third baseman?
Josh Young.
Josh Young. That's who I have. Josh Young is my third baseman.
All right.
And then my shortstop is a guy named Carlos Correa.
Ah.
That's who I go with. I think he's the one guy. If you're going to spend on a big name free agent this year that you can lock up, the only deal with Correa, he's an alpha male when he's on the field, but he does have a little bit of injury stuff that can happen. But that's my one big signing is Correa.
Okay.
Because he's young still. He's only 26 or 27. But still, those years still play as far as I'm concerned.
Well, my shortstop's Trevor Story. I think the local tie thing seems legitimate. He hits well in this ballpark. He really likes it.
Yep.
Now, I've had people say, the players coming home and playing for their hometown team, it's a pain in the butt because people always want tickets and stuff like that.
Sure.
But he really, his wife is from here. Both their families live here. In the off season, they live. He and his wife live in Colleyville.
Sure.
I just think that it's just too easy. Maybe that's my problem. It's too easy, but I think Story is the guy.
I like Story too, and I would be totally happy as a Ranger fan if Story was a guy too that came here. And he's not that old. He's 29, so he's not. Or is he 28 right now? I think
he's 28. Yeah,
28, but still young. Still young. I'm trying not to go over 30 if I can help it. When you're trying to, because you've always got to look at next year, 3 years, and 5 years, and who can you have helping this team when they're there. Story certainly, along with Correa, could be one that does that. Left field. Now here is where it's fun for me. Who do you got in left field?
No, don't keep him in suspense. Give him a left fielder. Give him your left fielder.
Okay. Well, when we went out and got Sonny Gray, we kind of made this big deal that we did. And do you know who it is?
No.
Castellanos.
Okay.
So we made a blockbuster deal, and we got a left fielder in Castellanos who to come play left field along with Sonny Gray that came back here. And then I've got another one.
No, I tell you what, Nick, you can make you can draw a lot of lines to Nicholas. I think he likes to go to now Castellanos. Yeah. The Rangers courted him last offseason.
Yeah.
And Chris Woodward really wanted him. And I think that they made a pretty good connection. Now it turns out that, they the Reds blew the doors off with the money.
Right.
That's fine. But he can opt out or something like that after this year. He had a great year. He's having a great year in a hitter's ballpark.
Sure.
So that would but if the Rangers thought he would hit here, then I can see that. I'm still staying though within the organization with DJ Peters. Okay. I just think, when Rangers say they're going to spend money, and John Daniel said it on the very first podcast here, it doesn't mean they have to go all in this year.
Yeah.
They can sprinkle it over the next couple of years.
Sure.
So, can you do better than Nick Castellanos in left field? I mean, probably, but, if you're going to sign Trevor Story, are you going to get too right-handed heavy? Anyway, so I'm staying with another right-handed bat, DJ Peters, who's far more affordable. And again, there might be something there.
Okay, center field.
Tavares.
You're still going to Tavares.
Absolutely.
No, okay, that's good. I went Ketel Marte. So they went out to Arizona and got Marte, which actually they're not going to do both Castellanos and Marte, but I did.
Okay.
So I like Marte, who might be more realistic in this situation with Arizona, and he's got a little control, good player. He plays second base too, but I think center field is where I have him here.
Yeah, the idea of the rebuild is to build a homegrown core. Sure. All right, so you're going to have Young in it. Dunning, not homegrown, but young, and you acquired him.
Right.
Hearn, again, young, and you acquired him from another organization. But these are guys that you've had your hands on for a while, and you've developed them. So I think that giving up on a 23-year-old toolsy outfielder just is the antithesis of the rebuild. And I think that Tavares, again, inconsistent, just turned 23, like
Sure.
2 weeks ago. Young, talented. I think that they're just gonna go with him and until they are convinced he can't go anymore. But I think it's going to be the other way around. I think that he's going to prove to be a very capable addition, a guy that you want to have, even if he doesn't hit that much.
Sure, he can play at the bottom of the lineup with that speed.
His defensive speed. He's a really good bunter, which he hasn't shown yet.
Yeah.
So I think that he's just going to be around for a while.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I totally agree. And you're thinking more realistically. I like to play the fan, where we go outside everybody.
That's fine.
And no, and that's right. And you're totally right. And I have no issue with that. I totally think you have to have another year to look at him. Also, now you don't have Connor Falefa in your lineup. Is he your super utility guy, or did he get?
He is. Yeah. And he obviously won a Golden Glove at third base. So if Josh Young does not have a good spring.
Sure.
And the Rangers want him to see him in AAA, you have a starting third baseman who won a Gold Glove in 2020. And I think Kiner Falefa is even aware I know he's aware of the possibilities out there and that he might have to become a super utility player. And he's fine with he's fine with that as long as the team wins.
Yep.
And but he's going to be second year ARB eligible.
Yep.
He's only got a couple years left. Free agency might be his best route eventually, but in this scenario, yes, I'm not starting him, but he's gonna play 4 or 5 times a week.
Absolutely. And let me tell you what, there's a difference between a super utility guy like Kiner Falefa and others because he is a stellar defender. And the bat's just an added bonus to go along with that. His bat plays at the major league level as a starter at second base, shortstop, or even third base, maybe a little more power. Mm. But it plays on a good team. It plays to have that guy in your lineup. So to be a super utility guy who's that good at those 3 positions, although
I do like your idea of playing him at second. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. But maybe, I don't know, shoot, who knows? But I would stick with Solak there and just because you can move Kiner Falefa around, because he can move around and play capably across the infield, and he could probably even play left field. That's what I'm doing there.
And so in right field, again, we both got Garcia, I'm assuming. Adolis is going to be in right field. And closer, I still had Barlow. You probably still have Leclerc, or do you have anybody in the free agent?
No, I have Leclerc. John Daniels doesn't like to spend money on big money on closers. He's only done it once with Joe Nathan.
Yeah.
And it worked out great, by the way.
Sure.
And then DH, I still want Ibanez and Calhoun getting at bats. So that's where I'm going there.
Well, in my scenario, it is Ibanez and Calhoun, and Solak's the odd man out. So, that's the odd man out, which in my scenario here, there's a couple of different guys that you got someone that the utility guy that if Kiner Falefa is playing second base, your super utility guy might be, for me, it might be Hernandez that ends up taking that position. Maybe Adoro, but they'd have to create a spot for him. So that's probably not going to happen. Defensively, he's like Kiner Falefa. He plays great defensive all around the infield. He didn't hit worth a crap when he was here. So that's why
he didn't get much of a chance, though.
No, and that's true. And he knew what his role was. His role would come up here and sit on the bench and be there in case, and he didn't have to take a 4-man spot. So because of COVID. So anyway, all right. Well, that's fun to do. I think our next homework we ought to look at next week which of these players do you see that maybe no one's talking about? Who needs to be looking over their shoulder in the fact that either they're going to get moved or they're going to get taken off the 40-man? Because there's a few names we could go over there. There's a lot of them. And we can talk about that next week as we wind down the season because, hey, not much is going to change on the big league roster these last 10 days. So, it'd be surprising to see anything else. Other than that, I think that would be fun.
Sure. All right.
Yeah. And then and we're going to have some fun stuff. Hey, before we get out of here, I saw that Ron Washington got you all the balls for the Do It for Durrett. Let's talk about that. Big thing. I can't wait for that. Do It for Durrett's coming up here in a couple of weeks. Tell us about it.
Yeah. The big event is a month from today, October 23rd, at Legal Draft. I think we're calling it Do It for Durrett Rocks.
Right.
There's going to be Mike, Groobs is going to be there. The old Gray Wolf himself with his band Petty Theft, the Tom Petty cover band, will be providing entertainment. What you were referring to is, every time we have an event, we ask people we know in the game who knew Richard. Unfortunately, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller. To help us out, get autograph items from their team. So like Ron Washington's done it for a few years. Chris Davis used to be great. Ian Kinsler used to be great. And then this year, Nelson Cruz has always been great, but he's helping us out with some his stuff, and a couple of Tampa Bay guys. Mike Maddox always gets us Cardinal stuff. He got us National stuff when he was with the National. So you get the idea.
Right.
Anyway, Wash, though, takes it another step. He gets stuff from other teams. And so in these balls that he sent us, he had only 3 Braves, the good Albies, Acuna, and Freddie Freeman, but he got Albert Pujols, Clayton Kershaw, Jacob deGrom, Don Mattingly, the Marlins manager, who, you can make a case should be in the Hall of Fame, maybe.
Absolutely.
So, and he did get a couple Cardinals to go off the bats. He got Arenado and Molina. Anyway, he got and Scherzer and a couple others. He got Tatis and Machado. So he just, he just gets it and has no problem doing it. And so, he's a champion. He really is a great person. And it's no skin off his back to ask. Basically, he either asks the player himself or he asks the clubhouse manager to tell the visiting clubhouse manager to get these balls autographed, and it happens, and it's a beautiful thing. And then we're going to auction them off. That's the silent auction is part of our event, and then we're going to have an eight items for live auction, including a trip to the All-Star game, a trip to the Hall of Fame, and a trip to spring training. So it's great stuff. And if John Daniels is on the board, Emily Jones is on the board, Anthony Andro, Kelly Durrett is on the board, Ashley Ernice is on the board. So it's a really good group of people who obviously knew Richard and just enjoy helping other families.
And explain what the money does, because this is awesome. I think this is incredible.
Sure. The money, the first event 6 years ago was strictly for Richard's family. At the time, Owen and Alice were
little
6 and 3, I want to say, and Kelly was pregnant with Margot, and so we wanted to raise some money for the family. So we had it at Billy Bob's. It was great. We raised $200,000. We had something from every major league team, so huge help. And then it was such a success. We kind of created a brand, and we wanted to do it for other families. And so that's what we do. If somebody reaches out to us about an area family who's lost a parent, sudden loss, right? Has kids, left behind, and they just need help. Sometimes sometimes we just send $3,000. Sometimes we send 10. We've done 50,000 before for families. So it's it means a lot to all of us. I think it's something that I never thought I'd be involved in, and it's one of the best things I've done. And just these people, they don't know what's going on. Their lives have just been turned upside down.
Exactly.
And they have all kinds of expenses, and some of them have insurance, some of them don't. There's GoFundMe pages that get set up. So sometimes we'll reach out and families will turn it down because they've done well there. They want it to go to other families. But
sure.
Even if it's just, covering a mortgage payment for a month or paying off a credit card, something like that, something to help them figure out where they're going to make up this lost income and pay the bills and keep a roof over their head. So it's a great little charity. And we've helped, 120 families, let's say. We've raised over $1 million. So
fantastic.
We're doing good, and it's good work.
Yeah, and that's do it for Durrett. That you guys need to look into that. Right now, let's go talk to Ricky Venesco. All right, and joining us now from the complex there in Arizona. A lot of you guys know this name, and he has been on rehab now for a little over a year. It's Ricky Vanasco. We talked to him last year. He came on the show before the injury. Ricky, what's up, bud?
Not a whole lot, man. Just itching to get a hitter in the box at this point.
Yeah, where are you? Where are you in the rehab process? I talked to Willie Calhoun a couple weeks ago. He said he stepped in and tracked against you and said you were throwing fastballs and changeups. Or where are you at now?
So I actually just got done with my rehab 2 Thursdays ago, and then I threw my first live BP this week, and then I have another one tomorrow. So I have one more live BP after this, and then my first game's October 5th. So
Okay, so you're spinning stuff. You're throwing.
Oh yeah, no, I'm throwing everything. Yes, sir.
And how do you feel?
I feel fantastic. Yeah, I don't think I've ever felt better, honestly.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I put on 40 pounds since I've been in here.
Yeah, I was
40
joking
pounds.
I was joking with the other day. If you needed 40 pounds, I could have gave you 40 pounds.
Yeah. I had to get mine the hard way, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I feel, mentally, physically, I feel fantastic. So
When the first time I met you, the first time we talked, it was when you were in Arlington as part of the Rangers Futures Camp, and you talked to me about how you always had trouble keeping on weight. So
yeah.
how A, did you put it on this time, and B, how are you keeping it on?
So like when I first got into rehab, the whole idea was for me to just throw on a bunch of weight like as quickly as possible. And that's what I did. I sat down with Stephanie and Emily, and we just made a plan about how much I should be eating, like eating the right stuff, obviously. And just stuck to the plan finally. And just, I put in all the effort. I was eating probably 6,200 calories a day.
You suck.
That's like a swimmer. That's like a swimmer.
It was like seriously like the hardest part through rehab, other than I'm like sitting around doing nothing every day. But like I ate myself sick daily.
Oh my gosh. See, I'm jealous as a guy who needs to take the 40 off. 6,200 calories would be like a dream for me to be able to eat anything I wanted.
It was a grind, I'll tell you that. But
So was it,
I mean,
a lot of shakes? I mean, I can't imagine you're eating $6,200 calories and steaks every day, but
I might have ate Chipotle out of burritos like weekly. I was there every day, at least 3 times a day. And then I had shakes in between, plus snacks, plus like stuff before I went to bed. It was a lot.
Well, what's your go-to
lot.
Chipotle burrito? What's your go-to?
Oh, I'm gonna get double brown rice, no beans, double steak, little medium sauce. And then I'm going sour cream and cheese, and I'm calling it.
No guacamole?
No guac, no.
Guac's a healthy. It's a superfood.
I know.
Surprised Stephanie didn't put you in that.
Oh, she tried. Yeah, I just fought against it. The
Stephanie he references, Steffi Fernandez, and she's the Rangers nutritionist, and she's done stuff like this for Ricky. Joe Palumbo was drinking a 4,000 calorie a day shake a couple off seasons ago, and she's
also still doing it.
Yeah, she also helps with in Joe's case and Kyle Gibson's case, they have ulcerative colitis. So I mean, she can do it all, and she's in this day and age when nutrition's such a big thing for players, she's kind of like a quiet MVP. I mean, she keeps you guys well nourished and going the right way. And Willie Calhoun, she had Willie Calhoun too with all his weight loss.
Yep. Yeah, she's a superhero in her own way. I'll tell you that.
She really is. Okay, so we're throwing 99. Is that right?
Yeah, we're back to where we left off for sure. I've been getting told to calm it down a little bit, so I'm kind of throwing too hard too soon. But yeah, it was 99 in a bullpen the other day with no hitter, a dummy hitter, and it was 10 o'clock in the morning. So
the blood's not flowing even. So
I can't wait for, somebody to step in the box and just finally be able to, feel the adrenaline again.
So October 5th is during Instructs, which begins here in a couple of days for everybody. What kind of barometer do you think that'll give you? Will you be able to get a pretty good gauge on what your stuff is doing?
Like honestly, as many bullpens as I've thrown up to this point, I think it's been like almost 15, 13. And then some live BPs, like my stuff's like still there and I'm confident in it. Obviously I haven't missed a step. And I think finally just, putting a hitter in there, it's showing me, that my stuff still plays, which makes me feel comfortable because I did blow out on a curveball, which, now I can keep throwing it. There's no mental block there. So it's just nice, that my stuff's still there. And I thought I might have thrown the best changeup in my life the other day. And, it hurts to say this because Jordan Teagues always messes with me because before I blew out, I had like finally learning my changeup or whatever. And I got sent to the alt site. And the joke was, you always had a good changeup, blah, blah, blah. So I finally it's finally such a comfort pitch for me now. And I threw one the other day and it was a 0.1 vert and 13 inches horizontal. It was completely sideways. And I took a picture of it and I sent it to him. I was like, I still got a good changeup. And he's like, yeah, see, that's your best pitch still. So,
all right, so go for your repertoire from what you're most comfortable with to least comfortable with.
That was my question. I want to know what's the arsenal?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, still my fastball still plays. I'm getting about like 22 inches of vert with it right now. So, it's back to where it was. It was a long road to, finally find that arm slot and the hand path again. But, fastball, still good. Curveball, even sharper and better now. Changeup, I'm just so satisfied with that at this point. And then still working on a slider. It's coming into the mix. It feels good finally out of my hand. So we're slowly working there. But other than that, everything feels really good right now.
So slider, not a cutter. You like a slider a little better.
Yeah, it's just I think it's easier for me to get to a slider, point out of my arm slot than it is cutter. And just because I throw so hard, it blends well with my curveball. So.
All right. Well, great.
So how much drop off do you get up on the changeup? So how many? What's the velo on the changeup compared to the fastball?
It was like I think I was sitting the changeup the other day. It was like 84, 85. So it was from like 96, 97, 85.
Wow.
So about 12.
That'll work.
Yeah. Yeah. It plays. I'll tell you that.
That'll play.
It'll play.
So we had Cole Reagan's on our last episode, and he went through what you went through twice. But I think one of the guys who's been instrumental has been Keith Comstock. Can you talk about what it's like being there with Keith and how he's helped you along?
Me and Kami actually sat down and talked to about it the other day, and he gave me a good quote. And he said, "For rehab, you'll always stand by." He said, "Don't bring more negative energy to rehab." And I was sitting there, I was thinking, I was like, what does he honestly mean by that? And like, obviously the rehab situation, being nobody wants to be in rehab. So he always, brings a positive attitude. He always brings such a life to the rehab group, and he makes it, less crappier than the situation, could truly be. And he always gives you something to work on. He challenges you every day. He's just like, if somebody could ever have a mentor in their life, not going through baseball, like I'd pick that guy any day of the week. Just he's just been there. He's been through it. He's seen it all, and he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I've never heard a rehab guy say anything bad about him, and it is the positivity thing because, like Cole said, there are going to be days when you don't want to be there, but there's somebody there who's going to pick you up, and it's a big. Unfortunately, it can be a big group. So, but these are probably guys you're going to be friends with for forever.
Yeah, and the Kami and I were talking yesterday, and he said that there's going to be a difference between, you and being in red and you being in blue. And he said the only difference is because you don't really get that close with anybody as, having a year to just be with that person every single day in rehab. So he said that'll probably be one big change for you, not having a gel like you have with rehab. But I mean, it's such a good group. I mean, we were so close. Everybody was so close. It just made the days go by quicker. I was telling Kami yesterday, I felt like I was sitting in a brace still. Today was actually my anniversary. My year was today. So
happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah. So yeah, I had brought donuts for all rehab today. Still a rehab tradition. And yeah, today was the year. So
all right.
That's awesome. Hey, let me ask you this. This is a question that now's the time to ask. You are finally off of IR. You're healthy again. You feel good. After the surgery, how long is it before you actually pick up a ball and throw it?
It's 6 months post-surgery.
Post-surgery.
So it's 6 months. So you get 6 weeks until you get the brace off post-surgery, and then 6 months until you start, throwing a baseball.
Oh my gosh. And for a pitcher, that had to drive you crazy.
Yeah, for something that we do all our life and it's our job. You can't pick it up for 6 months. It's tough. I mean, I tell you what, it's not easy going through rehab, but it'll be a blessing. I'll always remember on my career. That's for sure.
Sure.
And you start out with like 1 pound weights, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I was. What was I doing? I was curling like 3-pound dumbbells in the training room, and it was just like it's. You sit there and you think, oh, 3 pounds, having surgery, with that new UCL, I'll tell you what, I was never so sore after curling 3 pounds in my life. That was the heaviest thing to me.
It's heavy to me.
Yeah, it's a grind. And then we had ankle weights hung. I had ankle weights hung from my wrist one day because my arm wouldn't straighten out. That was the most. I thought I tore my UCL again. It was the most miserable thing I've ever been through.
That sounds like dark age medicine, right?
Yeah, it was. It's not fun.
That's pretty good. All right, so we've gone through the weight, we've gone through the velocity, the arsenal. I mean, it sounds like you're ready to go.
Man, I'm itching. I've been itching since I got done with my bullpens. I've been itching for a batter to just step in the box. I've been having a blast since I got done. It's been nothing but fun now, man. I just, you rehab, you find something you can look forward to that gets you through the week. Each week you find that new thing, and then you finally, you get to that end of the tunnel and you see the light. It's just like, you know what, like it's finally time to go. Like you finally get let go. So I can finally see the light again. We're almost there. So
good.
So I'm assuming, have they told you any kind of pitch count? Because they're obviously not just going to let you go out. Have they said, we're going to keep you 20 pitches, 30 pitches, something like that?
So I'm supposed to get 10 innings in instructs. They're 2 inning stints a piece, so it'd be 5 innings roughly.
Uh-huh.
And then I think I'm on like a 25-ish pitch count. I haven't been told that, but I would assume so.
And that's fine. You're building back up. You got to build back up the strength to doing that. So I even imagine going into the spring next year and starting the season in full ball again. When you're back in ball, they're gonna be watching it closely. That's too valuable.
Yeah, we talked when Meister was here and they did my assessment. He said I'm looking for like 90 to like 100 innings next year, 95 almost. So
okay.
So I'm inning capped already next year. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, Cole Winn, who was not injured, is going to be at about 90 innings this year. So I mean, it's
right.
It's part of the deal.
Oh,
right.
Oh yeah.
Good. So what? After instructs, you go home to Florida and hang out and go through a normal off season?
I'm gonna have a normal off season this year. I might either stay here or I'm gonna try to go out to Texas and stay with Sam and hopefully work out at the facility out there. Hopefully be out at TMI for a little bit. But obviously I got to talk through some things with some higher up people than me. So, but that's what the goal I'm shooting for right now. So
I tell you what, the TMI, Yeah, you know it, unfortunately, but across the street is a large hospital. TMI used to be in there, and it used to be tiny and cramped, and then Keith and his partners built this nice state-of-the-art facility. So I mean, you hurt your elbow at a good time, I guess, but it's a great facility.
Yeah. I went over. I had the hospital get my MRI done because that's where we still go. So. And,
I've been in that machine. I've been in that one.
Yeah.
For back.
It sounds like just bombs going off in there. It's terrible.
Did they give you the headphones to put on? Did they?
Oh yeah, the little skull candy earbuds that you can't hear the music over in the thing. Yeah, they give you those. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. But hey, we got to do what we got to do.
Hey, we got one listener that wanted to ask a question. This is Scott Walker, and I put it out and said, anybody want to ask you a question? He said, how difficult has it been to watch all of the other prospects get so much acclaim, excuse me, as the system strengthens, but you hardly get mentioned as part of the strength of the farm system due to the injury?
I mean, like, personally for me, like, obviously that doesn't bother me a bit. Just because, those guys are really my teammates one day, and sitting in rehab, like, I know that at the end of the day, like, I want to have, like, obviously I want to be, everybody loves a little recognition, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's good to sit back and, see other people succeed and, watch those guys. Like Snyder, he was in rehab with me when I started, and I got to watch him get to the big leagues this year. Like, that's nothing for me but satisfaction. Like, I love that dude to death. You know what I mean? And it's not so much, sitting back and not being recognized, but it's sitting back and, watching those guys that, were in my draft class and, get that call up and seeing that light, like, that could be me one day, that could be me next year. It could be me the year after. It just, it's just motivation, honestly. And, they might not have said or mention my name a lot in rehab, and I honestly don't care, just, because the important people like Mike and all them, they always called me, they checked up on me, so it gave me that little satisfaction, that I needed just to get through. So it was nice.
For the record, you're in case people don't know, I mean, you're in the top 30 lists of, the major publications. You're top 20, top 15. So it's not like you're just, wallowing in the bottom 100 or whatever, but it's just, you get hurt and it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind type of thing. And I think
exactly.
I certainly think, like you mentioned, the organization knows who you are, and that's what.
Oh right. Yeah,
and yeah.
Go ahead. Well, see, and I think when I first read this question, I kind of went, "Well, what's he?" Then I understood what he said, because look, Jeff and I both, we've talked to Paul Kruger here a couple weeks ago. He talked to Willie Calhoun. The name Ricky Vanasco is what you're doing there. People are saying, okay, Ricky's back. Here he comes, because we had heard your name before the injury happened. I think his deal was everybody else is getting pressed because they're throwing, they're playing, they're doing it, and Ricky's not. How hard is that? I can't. And you answered it perfectly. It's kind of, I mean, it stinks because I'm not facing anyone right now, so my name's not being mentioned on a stat line or a stat sheet. That's kind of what I think he was trying to get at.
Right. Yeah. And I got recognized, in my own way in rehab. That was the satisfaction for me. Like, being Kami, putting me in that leadership role. That being recognized from Paul, from Mike, from all those guys. Like, that was the only satisfaction I need. I didn't need anything tweeted out. I don't need stuff like that. But I mean, obviously at the end of the day, it's nice, but seeing that, I can go into rehab and I can put a smile on a guy's face, when he's having a bad day. That was the only satisfaction I needed while I was hurt. So,
yeah, those guys aren't big tweeters, by the way. I think they have.
They're not.
I think they have burners, though. I think they have burners because they always seem to know when I tweet. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna. I'm pretty sure they've got burners.
Yeah.
So, John, what you got?
That's it. You know what, Ricky, you came on. I appreciate it so much. I knew I could get you on. I reached out to you last week. We were supposed to get someone on. I said, Ricky probably come on. You were ready. And then I was like, let's do it this week. It's great. I mean, I had to tap the brakes to get ready. I wanted you to be back throwing. Here's some good things before we did. Last year, we had talked right on the day you got diagnosed. And so I wanted to, and everybody's like, yeah, go talk to him. He sounds good and everything's going well. It's great to get you to come on here and talk to us. Look, everybody, when they look at pitching prospects in this organization, the top two names right now are Leiter and Wynn. They always talk about that. But there are guys behind the scenes that are saying, there's a guy named Ricky Vanasco that might be right in that conversation he could even be the best one here. That's what I've heard behind closed doors. So you know what? It's good that you're healthy, buddy. And I appreciate you coming on here so much.
I appreciate you guys having me. It's always a pleasure. We went through it last year. We got yelled at by Mike together. So, it was awesome. So, I mean, it's always a pleasure being on with you guys. So
awesome.
All right. Hey man, if you get into town, if you do come in this off season or whatever, give me a holler, man. I'll come over and take you guys out for a meal or something. You just got to let me know if you're in town.
Yes, sir. I will. Absolutely.
That's Ricky Vanasco. Jeff, anything else?
No. Sweet.
All right, buddy. All right, Jeff. Thanks. All right, Ricky. Thanks for joining us. Ricky Vanasco, right-handed pitcher for the Texas Rangers. Okay, that was Ricky Vanasco from Arizona. That was great talking to him. He looks like he's ready to go.
Yeah, he was pretty fired up. You could tell, and he looks entirely different with all that. I mean, his face still looks the same, I guess, but he's gone from boy to man with his 40 pounds. That's pretty impressive.
No kidding. God, I wish someone would tell me you really have to eat a lot of calories every day. And
yeah, I mean, 6,200, that's like what Michael Phelps would eat.
Yes, I remember that story.
That's like Olympic training diet. It's crazy. 6,200. I mean, I eat a lot, but I don't think I could do 6,200.
I don't think I could. And I eat a lot too. And so, I count in calories now, but my gosh, but he did look good. He's put some muscle on. I saw some pictures of him throwing. And these guys, you get up next to him, and I remember seeing him at spring training, the last spring training when it was really open. That was the year COVID hit, but it was before COVID really got there, and they were in spring training, and he was just a rail, just a tall, skinny rail in there.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good one. Hey, you know what? We had Ricky on. We had some fun there at the beginning. Next week, of course, we've got some homework. We're going to look at 40-man roster decisions and what they're going to do. And in the meantime, we'll try to get another cool guest.
Yeah, we haven't let anybody down yet, so we're not going to start now. We got one more week of the regular season. I tell you what, I've got a couple ideas for a good one, so I'll run them past you here off camera. I don't want to. Off mic. I don't want to
make a promise that you can't keep. Or, cash a check that you don't have the money in the bank. No, I've got a few of those too. I think that'll be fantastic. Guys, thanks for joining us this time. This was episode 5. And thanks Ricky Vanasco for coming on. We'll be back here next week. Hey, for those that have asked, I want to make sure into the off season, we will be doing these weekly. I don't know that we'll need to do it weekly, but at least once or twice a month, we're going to put one of these out. There's going to be a lot of winter meeting stuff. Jeff, you're going to try to get to the winter meetings if they have it. And maybe report from there?
Yeah, it's going to depend on if John Daniels told me there won't be in winter meetings if there's a strike. So,
Okay.
I think it depends on that, but I'd like to. I mean, it's such a big deal, and you get but and then it all assumes that we can do what we normally do, which is talk to people without worrying about spreading any diseases or anything like that. So. Sure. We'll see, but there's going to be a lot of off-season stuff. Just because the season ends doesn't mean the newsletter is going into hibernation. We'll be cranking out a lot of content every week. So,
and this too can because this too. This podcast here could be a 30-minute podcast or a 15-minute. Jump on, do some stuff, throw it out, and just some ideas and fun stuff. It won't. There is always going to be stuff to talk about during the off season. It's going to be a busy off season, I think.
Yeah. So guess what you guys need to do? Get you a paid subscription to Jeff Wilson's Texas Rangers newsletter, jeffwilson.substack.com. It costs $5.99 a month. Or if you do the year plan, it costs $5 a month.
Yep.
So, that's one less beer at the bar, or one less hamburger at Whataburger, as
Yep.
John likes to say. So it's a piece of cake. It's a piece of cake, and it's good stuff.
It's
and
well worth it. And hey,
we're very biased, but if you listen to what Paul Kruger said at the end of the last episode, that was a real nice compliment. How he and the organization have taken note how we're hitting the farm system. So if you're into prospects and you don't care about the major league team right now,
this is a place.
You got to know about these guys, and the subscription enables you to do that.
Absolutely. And listen, TR came out with another great one today, and he's doing his memoirs, and those are fantastic. And guys, I mean, look, the daily coverage is great. I mean, Jeff puts out great stuff every day, dog videos, all of that to go with it, and good stuff. And he talks to guys there on the team every day. And then you got TR who puts his stuff on, which is fantastic. And then this part here is free. But I tell you what, I look for my newsletter every morning to see what you've talked about on there. So, all right, guys, get the subscription. We'll see you next week. Guys, thanks a lot. See you at the yard.